Larry Fedora, head coach, North Carolina college football, said at ACC Media Days this week, he poo-pooed, dismissed, played down the connection between CTE and football. And also kind of went real hot takey and said, I fear the game will be pushed so far from what we know now that we won't recognize it in 10 years. And if it does, our country will go down too. And Fedora ended up linking it to how a general supposedly once told him that we are the greatest military in the world because we play football. I mean, that in and of itself just sounds bunk. I mean, there are plenty of other countries that have great militaries that don't play football. So I kind of think that's a loose connection. Also, how many people in the military never played football and are great military men and women? I mean, I would have to imagine the vast majority of the women that make up our military did not play football growing up, yet they're a crucial part of our military. So that whole thing just has so many holes that you can puncture. Also, I mean, the idea that if football becomes, well, we're going to eliminate kickoffs, we're going to have the targeting rule, and suddenly America's going to go down. I mean, that whole concept is just, I understand it's been politicized. That whole concept, if you really think about it logically and unbiasedly and just kind of take the emotion out of whether you love football or not, is so extraordinarily silly. That if we get rid of kickoffs, forget it. America's going down with it. As I noted, 100 years ago, we had this conversation about America's values and football. And at that time, it was so brutal and violent that kids were dying, and Teddy Roosevelt had to step in and say, let's get this a little safer so that people aren't dying all over the place. And at that time, people said, no, you cannot make it safer because America is getting too soft. Okay? We're not farmers anymore, and now we're working in these factories, and we're living in cities, and we're losing our toughness. We ended up having a pretty good run after that of American might. And people 100 years ago said, oh, we're becoming too soft. The football, that's an indicator. So it's all so silly. But anyway, when Larry Fedora says this, it obviously opens himself up for criticism. It also opens himself up for negative recruiting. And when the rest of the ACC coaches took the podium the next day, they all hammered home how important player safety is, research is, taking CTE seriously, and technology. And that not only is the right answer right now, it's the responsible answer. These are young men that are not getting paid to play football. You're getting paid, they aren't. And so to poo-poo their injuries, especially long-term health, Larry Fedora has a series of kids on his team that will never earn $1 playing football. They will earn degrees. Some of them will not earn degrees. Some of them will have an education. Some of them will have parts of an education. But he will have about 75% of his roster never earn $1 having played football. He will have earned millions. And he is going to downplay the effects of playing football and long-term brain ramifications